This NFL most and least points edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
This is Randy Cross. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
I think it's football season finally. I think football's finally here. I don't think there's any other sports we need to talk about.
No, UFL ended. Perfect time to ramp up. Shout out to us cashing the Birmingham Stallions plus 300 in the futures market. Locked it up obviously for the show -3. That was easy money. And yeah, we got a lot cooking here as we count you down to NFL kickoff. Mere days away, right? Just days away. 81 days away. And not only
you see that was frontal lobe recall right there.
Right on it. Ryan was trying to quiz me. Where is the Super Bowl located this year? Wait, Super Bowl number. I'm lazy. I'm locked in, Ryan.
I was not trying to quiz you. I was quizzing you. I was preparing you.
Thank you.
Because you know what they say, that you want to have the preparedness locked down. Or at least that's what we learned from The Rock in the XFL. Yeah, it's the corner of preparedness and opportunity. Or
that's
whatever.
when that intersects. Look out. Hey,
at least especially for The Rock.
Yes,
he's had a lot of intersections in his life.
Shout out to we broke down Karjitsu yesterday, and shout out to Instagram. Guy on Instagram, Casey Moulton was the one that sent it to me. I couldn't remember his name. He was very excited that we were breaking down Karjitsu. And yeah, feel free to DM us stuff, any kind of videos, whatever, at Gambling Podcast on Twitter, at Sports Gambling Podcast on Instagram.
Felt tame, honestly. Karjitsu,
yeah,
pretty tame. There's rules.
Oh, okay.
It seemed like a pretty evolved sport.
The fact that you're still, and appears like the go-to move. I haven't done a deep dive in Karjitsu, is to try and choke the guy out with the seatbelt, which feels like it could be an issue. I know in MMA you're choking a guy out with a hand, but the seatbelt could get caught on something. I don't want a early death to derail the momentum of the new sport Karjitsu.
It's the risk you take when you step inside the steel cage.
Yes,
is that what they say? Is that what they call a car? The steel cage.
Yeah, when you get in that 4-door sedan, you know what you're signing up for, right?
What do they have, like the 128 point of safety inspection?
I wonder, is there different like levels? Like, hey, maybe there's like the Suburban.
Well, the heavyweights can't
limo
fit in the sports car.
Well, like the limo, the bus. Like it makes me think of like different vehicles for different situations.
I would imagine certain weight classes fight in certain vehicles. That's what I would imagine.
Oh yeah,
right. Like what class are you? Oh, I'm Tesla truck.
Yeah.
Oh damn, bro. Packing some weight,
packing some heat there. All right, so yeah, we're going to talk.
But I mean, all right, sorry, yes. I was completing the point of on the scale of sport. When I was expecting some like Thai rat roulette type situation. So this was very evolved, I would say, compared to that. There was equipment, there were rules.
Seems like a little bit, yeah.
A nice overlay, nice production quality. Anyway, let's talk football.
Let's talk ball. Speaking of football, SGPN, the college football experience. We got a preview series hosted by Colby Dant, counting you down. 134 team previews. Those are up and at 'em. I think he's 14, 15 team previews deep. And if you're looking to get ready for fantasy, we have a new relaunch show. It's only 5 minutes, few times a week. 5-minute fantasy football. Get you ready, quick and dirty. Get you ready, and then of course, if you're signing up for any of the awesome contests in Vegas, football contest proxy.com, promo code SGP, get you $50 off your entry. Circa Million, Circa Survivor. We're gonna be out there in July, Ryan. We also will be out there for Circa Sign Up Weekend, which is third week in August. Perfect time to head out there. Get you signed up, and also week 0 college football. So gonna see us do some live shows. A lot of fun. Let's get to it, Kramer.
Pretty embarrassing here. Must have been the last time I wore this jacket was in Vegas.
What do you got there?
I got a card from a guy with a limo card, and then I also have a white piece of paper with my social security number on it, which clearly was.
This is hilarious. It shows like 2 scandalous ladies, free limo, free cover. 2 drink and Nasty Nate is the referral.
Why do we want Nasty Nate anywhere near if you're trying to have a good time?
Yeah, I don't know. Girls to your room 24/7, Ryan. All right, I'll let you take that card.
We'll leave this one in the office for CJ.
Yeah, who knows?
I think
He's one of those guys who will get
must have been from the time I let CJ borrow my jacket. All right. Yeah, let's talk NFL. I was just building the schedule out, Sean. We're gonna I wasn't joking. There's only I would say less than a half dozen I'll exclude PLL, but non-lacrosse or football episodes from here out. Rest of the year, maybe 6.
Yeah, maybe the British Open,
6.
but yeah, I mean we got.
You're right. There's one.
We got our fantasy positional previews.
Those are starting on Wednesday, I think.
32 individual team previews. We're also doing conference college football previews. If 134 team previews is too much for you, you want to you want to hang out by the surface, a little snorkeling. The college football conference previews with Colby. That's a great way to get started.
Yeah, they got rid of division, so who knows how we're going to break them up this year.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we'll just let Colby rank them. All right. So we decided. I think someone reached out. I want to say someone hit you up or us up on the social and was like, "Hey, I saw that there's most and least points. You guys should take a look at that market." We've broken this one down before. It is a fun market to break down. So we will do it again. Do you want to start least or most, Sean? I'll give you dealer's choice.
Let's do most points.
All right. So if you are a Patreon, you have access to the sheets.
Very beautiful sheet, Ryan. Color coded.
Well, I color coded this one merely, and what I did was I added a column next to the odds for the team to have the most or least points with their point total for the season. So just to give you an idea of where their odds stack up against their point total. So
wait, now the point total isn't what they scored last year. It's what their
point total is what
total?
they're projected to score this year. What their over under is for points this year. And so from the bottom to the point was to more, and we'll highlight it as we go, but the point was more to create a visual where you see, some of these teams do stand out a little bit in terms of point total relative to where the odds are. And you can see some of these teams are teams that I fancy. We'll call them Kramer Steam teams. I must be affecting the market already. All right. From the bottom to the top, remember, we're talking about the most points scored in the National Football League this year. I guess before we start, anything you want to add in terms of any sort of historical data on this one? Because I was gonna go grab. I was battling with AI to create a list for me on the highest scoring teams each year, and it's kind of irrelevant to look at it that way. More about just I think
I don't think there's any what happened in 2021. I mean, obviously I do think looking back at last year, I would say, put it this way, it's tough for a team to come completely out of nowhere.
Yes.
Like you look at even last year,
like even if you think about some of your surprise teams of all time, they still didn't come out. Like the Rams when they led the league in scoring.
Yeah.
Which by the way, I did, led the in terms. Yeah. So I learned one thing. Redskins led the league in scoring in the first year of the NFL when they had the Super Bowl.
I'll say this: Green Bay from 2019 to 2020, they were 14th in points in 2019, then won it in 2020. So that, there are some cases, 2019 Baltimore winning it, the previous year, 2018, they were 13. So I think you have to come up, if you do think a team is going to make a leap, you have to kind of tie it to some sort of narrative, probably around quarterback.
Yeah. So two things. One, you can't really accomplish this without an elite quarterback. This is not like you can have a great defense, get wins. If you're scoring a lot of points, you're most likely also a team that has a good quarterback. Also, it doesn't hurt to have a bad defense. Those would be the two ingredients I would say, just kind of historically looking at it.
And I think also I would compare these markets to the number one seed market, right? Because they're not necessarily exactly the same, but I think if you like some of these teams, depending on the price, hey, most points, you probably should also like them for number one seed. I think it's a team by team basis, but definitely something worth considering.
Yeah, I would say, I disagree with that. I would.
What do you mean?
Like, I think these are completely independent. If I like a team in a high scoring sense, it's not necessarily because I think they're going to win all the games, but it's more of a, hey, in the version where I think they're going to win a lot of games, they have to score a lot of points. And
but
so maybe that goes both ways.
I think you have to, when getting down, I think it's worth also looking at the number one seed out. Not saying they're related, but if you score the most points in the NFL, that does help you win the most games.
So I would say that the correlation you're going to find there is that the better the team is, like the more likely you are to find value in their number one odds versus points odds. I think for most teams, for the majority of the teams. All right. So bottom of the top, and Titans are a good example, and we start with them 300-1. Not too many outliers here, but the Titans, the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Panthers. And to me, one of these teams stands out as a team that has invested a tremendous amount in the offense, and has the fuck it quarterback in terms of Will Levis. Like the Titans would be.
I thought you were setting up to say the Panthers, right?
No, I mean, you could probably say a lot of the same things about the Panthers. They have loaded up on the offensive side of the ball. I mean,
we just said you can't, and Tennessee was 27th in points. You probably shouldn't be making this bet, but 300-1, Ryan. I think we got to sprinkle on the Titans.
But here's the reason why I think the Titans, for example, contradict your number one seed angle.
No, you didn't. I don't think it's necessarily related. I'm saying you should be price shopping number one seed and this. So just because they're related.
I would take that a step further. I think you're more likely to want to do that with teams that are favorites than you are with like a Tennessee Titans.
Yes,
because I think Tennessee can score a shitload of points even if they're a bad team, win-loss. But they definitely need to score a lot of points if they're going to be the number one seed.
Yes.
And so I think this is a better bet in that case.
Oh yeah, 100%. This is nowhere close. It's I would say it's more comparable for a team like
the contenders.
We'll get there up top.
All right, 200-1.
But again, they're not going to have the most points, but it's fun to have it at 300-1. Do we like this?
What do you mean they're not going to? I did get a hand pay from the Titans. Do you not remember that? Which, by the way, have you heard back regarding the movement of the NFL slot machine?
So we did get breaking news.
We have heard many fans have reached out to us. They can't find the machine.
How's the slot?
We were informed that they moved the slot machine from right next to the VSiN studio at Circa to upstairs near the diner. This is troubling news to say the least.
That's where slots go to die.
I plan.
That's where the fishies are.
Ryan, sometimes we'll pull back the curtain. Sometimes you can have a conversation off the air and it's different. I think I'm going to save it for when we see Derek and hopefully they're available because we're going to be in studio July 1st through 3rd doing shows VSiN prime time 3 to 6 o'clock Pacific.
Get him on there.
Get Derek on there. We'll talk. We'll talk about the contest. Get him real excited, and then be like, "Dude, where's the slot machine?"
Yeah,
I think Ryan. I think what we're gonna learn is that either it was a great machine, or B, us not being there feeding it every Friday.
I have a theory. I thought about this. They don't want the jackpot. I know there's a bunch of machines and they're all connected.
Yeah.
They don't want the jackpot to happen till football, so they're hiding.
I could totally see that. I bet you that thing when we're back in September or late August for sign up weekend, I bet you that thing is back down there. But we'll get the inside official scoop from Derek when we're out.
All right. So last thing to note on the 300-1 teams, the Titans have a point total that is 20 points higher than the Patriots and 15 points higher.
I mean, this
than
is
the Broncos.
This is just EV. The
Here's
problem
the
is
craziest part.
Yeah.
They have a lower point total than the Panthers. How does that even make that make sense to me?
the problem
Make that
is
make sense. How are the Panthers going to score more points than the Titans this year?
the problem is the Titans were 27th in points last year, but it's three.
What were the Panthers?
I think the Panthers were 32.
So where are they getting this bullshit?
They were
from?
tied with New England for 31st.
Shit, I think I might have to take an over on the 357.5 for the
It's
Titans.
comically
and under
low.
on the Panthers. All right, so let's go up a slight tier here, 200 to 1.
So in our quarterback story there is that Will Levis makes the jump. He was almost a first round pick. They brought in big weapons for him. They're switching coaches to a more pass heavy offense.
It's the Cincy offense.
And he makes that leap. So
we just need to start reminding people it's the Joe Burrow offense.
Yeah.
But with a more athletic Joe Burrow.
People are gonna.
That's it.
The casuals are gonna be surprised when Derrick Henry's not on this team.
Imagine if imagine if Joe Burrow had big biceps, could run like a fucking moose.
Love
through
mayo
snow,
in his coffee.
Loved mayo in his coffee.
Will Levis
and had better receivers, D Hop and Calvin Ridley. I mean,
Brian, how's this for a comparison? Will Levis is the Bryson DeChambeau of the NFL world. No one wants to like him. Kind of weird stories off the field. Loves working out, but the guy wins sometimes, and he's not afraid to bring it. He's not afraid to show up in high leverage spots.
The winning sometimes is still pending. We'll have to.
For Will Levis. So Bryson just won the U.S. Open. Come on.
All right, 200 to 1. We got the Raiders. We got the Giants. Any interest here?
No.
Giants. I might be coming back with a thick stack of ridiculous futures.
I might have a Giants play later in the episode, right? Not for
good.
this market.
Raiders. I think they're just going to run the ball too much. Sorry, Arthur Smith and the Steelers 150 to 1. No way, right?
No, I mean, yeah, they're a slow offense with a good defense. Like they wouldn't want to score the most points. I don't think.
For what it's worth, if you're asking me what the odds should be, these 150, 200 to 1 teams are clearly teams with large fan bases that probably started at 300 to 1. New York, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas checks out. All right, 100 to 1 Vikings. Do you want to pause and talk about this? Another way to get invested in Sam Darnold possibly for the 2024 season?
This one, I at least to me, is worth discussing because again, they were 22nd in points last year. They were able to put up points with some, super thin plays at quarterback.
Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess to me, at the heart of it is Sam Darnold and or a rookie quarterback combination going to lead the league. And I still think they have questions on defense. They're in a dome, so. There is a scenario where they're involved in some higher scoring games. At 100 to 1, I wouldn't hate if someone played it, but no thanks for me.
Defenses in their division: Detroit Lions, not good.
Okay.
Has not been good. Lots of young talent at defensive back. Chicago Bears were kind of making a step forward, and the Packers, who have not been great. So
yeah.
Certainly a path there, but
I see the case, but
the whole thesis was: do you have the quarterback?
Yeah.
Do they have the quarterback? Probably not. All right, next tier, we'll do the Saints at 90 to 1, the Chargers at 80 to 1 together. These are very similar teams to me. Chargers, you got to cross off. It's Harbaugh. There's no way he's going to be playing track.
I don't know. I don't.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I think to me,
we know Harbaugh pretty well.
No, but I think the Chargers are a team that are interesting on the outlier scenarios for this team, either very good or very negative, because again, Justin Herbert has shown the ability to play quarterback at a high level. What if it just was simply some play calling issues? What if it was just, the offensive line and Harbaugh brings some intensity, some physicality into this team? They play their 8 home games in a dome. They also have a couple dome games, the Raiders.
You've crafted this take. This isn't the first time you're thinking about this.
No, the more I think about the Chargers, I think the outlier scenarios are interesting from a betting perspective. You mentioned on the VSiN show, Ryan, Chargers that have the fewest wins. We talked about that. And you like that at 50 to 1. I see the case for that.
Way more likely.
But you look at Greg Roman, he was involved in that 2019 offense that took Lamar Jackson and turned him into an MVP candidate. They led the league in points that year. I guess I'm not going to be shocked if things click for the Chargers. Again, I think it could also the opposite could be true as well, right? Like, hey, Harbaugh doesn't have his guys. He's got to reset the roster. This team is going to bottom out. I see that as a viable situation. So I'm going to take a sprinkle on the Chargers here at 80-1.
Points for when the 2011 San Francisco 49ers, they were 11th out of 32. 2012 San Francisco 49ers, 11th out of 32. To your point, they're better than I would have guessed. This is crazy. 2013 San Francisco 49ers, 11th out of 32 in points. And the 2014 San Francisco 49ers before he departed, 25th out of 32. So
yeah, I guess I would just say the difference
different
is,
quarterback.
Yeah, different quarterback, and you're playing in a dome. And I still think the Chargers have questions on defense.
I do think the one note that you have right is that Roman tends to not be what a lot of people seem to think he is. If you go look at his pass rates over expectation, they're not Arthur Smith. He's not someone that's completely like killing the clock, not throwing the ball. So that being said, no, thank you. Anything on the Saints?
No, I'm not a Derek Carr guy.
No. They need Gruden back. If Gruden comes back, what if
the Saints?
What if we get it? Well, he went there last year to help install the offense. Right. He's just doing some bullshit in Italy. Who knows what he's up to? What if we get word that Gruden is in camp with the Saints?
I would be.
Would that make you change your view on this particular play?
I would certainly be higher.
Carr and Gruden were scoring points.
I would be higher on the Saints if John Gruden was coaching their offense. Yes, 100%.
I'm also going to pass here.
Right, real quick. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Use that promo code SGPN. The deposit match up to $250 of bonus cash. Perfect time with the NBA Finals. Get you going on some sweet higher lowers for Underdog Fantasy, and of course Best Ball Mania. We've been doing drafts Sunday night. Just did one last night. Very fun. Just great way to get you psyched for the National Football League. Use that promo code SGPN. Get you a deposit match up to $250 in bonus cash. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. That's right. Rhythm, great for betting NBA player props. You can come up with your own projections, your own models, or you can just let Rhythm do the heavy lifting. They were all over Hauser in Game 4. That cashed easily over his 5.5 points in Game 4. They nailed it. They got the predictive model from some MIT data nerds, and again, it's easy to set up, easy to use. They also got you going for the WNBA and golf. Get started today with their free 7-day trial. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM, so they know we sent you.
I don't have enough long shots. I might have to circle back here and sprinkle one of these teams that we just glossed over. All right. Got this 60-1. I'll throw your Bucks in here too. So we got Commanders Browns at 16-1. 60-1 and Bucks 50-1. I will say that we're starting to, not that there's a ton of odds that stand out, and most of them are pretty explainable with just fan bases that like their team. But the Browns particularly feel like they're being given some respect here that makes no sense. Other than
you think it should be higher?
I think they should be longer odds. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Either way,
especially if you look at their point total, it doesn't match the realm we're in here. These teams are in the 380s. They're being totaled in the 360s.
That's crazy. I think they're. I mean, I'm not high on the Browns, but 369.5
feels low.
Feels low.
Oh, so you're the opposite. You might look to take an over on that point total then.
I probably because I think their team. The defense being good enough puts them in good spots again, but I'm not looking to get down on a Deshaun Watson led team.
And just for reference,
I'm not touching Deshaun Watson.
The 369.5 that Cleveland is totaled at is roughly 21.5 points per game.
Yeah, I think it's probably Stefanski. I think it's smart enough. Defense creates some turnovers, puts them in some good spots. I mean, I at least compare the Browns win total to the Commanders win total, and the Browns have a better defense. So,
that to me, you just highlighted the case as to why Washington's a better bet to score more points.
Yeah, I see that, but I either way, I'm not taking it.
The rookie. I mean, it's interesting because both quarterbacks have some questions too. So they're actually probably an interesting comparison. To me, the Bucks is the bet here, right? I mean, if you like a team in this area, it's the Bucks, and I think it's the same. You're talking yourself into the same argument that maybe the division ends up being this kind of high flying bunch of subpar defenses and talent on offenses.
Yeah, no, I will. And the same reason I like them for best ball and some of the passing yard stuff. If you look, the stretch of games during the fantasy football playoffs, they play the Bucks play a tremendous number of games in a dome. So I think that alone, plus, yeah, I mean, the weapons they have. If I like Jalen McMillan, the guy they drafted. Chris Godwin, I think, is finally healthy. Rashad White feels underrated. We'll see. Losing Dave Canales to the Carolina Panthers, who seemingly got Baker in a good place. I'll take a small sprinkle, 50-1.
2021 with a lot of the same players on offense.
Yeah. So you're on with the Bucks, Ryan? Different
quarterback. They were second in points. No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
That was more of serving it up for you. I know you're a big Bucks guy. My concern is the other side of the division is that there are going to be a lot of like close, shitty games where there isn't a lot of scoring, because I think in general it's still easy to say that's the worst division in football, or at least you can circle it and make that argument. All right, next up we got we'll do the emerging teams here: the Colts and Falcons at 40-1, and the Cardinals at 35-1. You know I'm a big Cardinals guy.
Yeah.
This is actually one of the teams that stands out the most in terms of poor value relative to the point total, but I don't care. Give me the Cardinals. I'm in Cardinals and Colts to me right here. This is a sweet spot.
Yeah, I'll take Indy as well. I mean, Anthony Richardson making a little bit of a jump. The Shane Steichen offense. They got Jonathan Taylor, and if Anthony Richardson gets hurt, they have a competent backup in Joe Flacco.
I think the Colts scenario requires a little bit more. I know that I know that they tend to play fast, but I think it's going to still require the defense to be a little bit of a problem. I don't expect the Cardinals defense to be very good.
Yeah,
I'm a little worried the Colts could have a really good defense.
Jonathan Gannon, I thought, got the most out of that roster,
but it was because they were aggressive and they were making plays, but they were still giving up points.
Yeah,
it was the kind of defense which you love as a fan. But yeah, so but I would still buy a piece of the Colts at 40-1 because I don't think there's very many coach quarterback combinations that are going to be playing to score enough points to win this award from down here. So. Yeah, all right. Maybe I do have enough Cardinals. And by the way, all of these teams have resulted in a hand pay. Cardinals, Colts, and Titans on my card so far. All right. Anything you want to add to those?
No.
Josh, I see producer Josh has the Falcons. You want to comment on? He's probably also drafting Kyle Pitts.
Maybe we should take some Falcons as a hedge, so we don't look like total assholes when they come out and they're a dominant number one. I don't see them being able to do it for an entire season either. That is part of it. Like, could the Falcons start out okay? Sure, but I mean that Falcons team is just pure dysfunction.
No, and we're gonna play the game because you were making fun of me when I was quizzing you earlier. But this team that is, I think a lot of people saying that they like their offense's chances. Who's the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons? People are excited because he's coming from the McVay tree. Offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons for this offense that everyone's crowning. Kyle Pitts, Drake London,
I'm blanking.
Bijan Robinson, Michael Penix. Who knows it? It's Zach Robinson.
Yes,
who's Zach Robinson? Right. Okay, he started his coaching career in 2019 for the Los Angeles Rams as an assistant quarterbacks coach. He then was promoted. No, he was pushed to the side to go coach, be the assistant wide receivers coach, and then the assistant quarterbacks coach again, and then the pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach for 2 seasons, and now he's an offensive coordinator. Is that the kind of guy that you think is going to come in?
Low T. He needs eugenics, right?
He played in the league too. Whatever. Oklahoma State guy. So, but I don't know. I couldn't be more off on a team. Anyway, next up, somehow the Seattle Seahawks are 28-1 here. This is insane. They have a defensive minded head coach.
Super skeptical on the Seahawks offense.
Throw that one out right here.
Skeptical on their passing game for fantasy. I think I think Charbonnet and even Kenneth Walker are interesting at their ADP. Sound like a real nerd over here, but
this is an insane price to me because they have the same odds as the Jags, and the Jets are 25-1.
Yeah, I mean, of these, and I don't like any of these. Jags would be the one that's interesting to me.
Oh yeah, for sure, because they're. But I think their defense is actually going to be a strength of the team.
Yeah,
and I think they, as much as we like to hate the Jags, I don't hate the version of them where they can play a little bit of defense this year. And they paid Trevor Lawrence, so what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. No way.
This tier to me, I'm also not interested in buying the Jets in this kind of market.
No,
like give me. I'd much rather have like a number 1 seed. Over points.
This is a good example why.
What is
what
their
I was saying?
one?
It would be interesting to compare them number 1 seed to most points, because in this case you would rather have the number 1 seed, because if they do win, you would imagine it's their defense helping carry
Jets 850.
Yeah. So I don't know. That one's worth going back.
I don't think
because it's a pretty big difference, but
I don't think they're not going to be a points first team. Like
no.
To me, they're not winning with points. Although you did highlight that Aaron Rodgers led Packers team that made a big jump earlier. All right. So then next little tier here, we got the Bears at 22-1. Talk about respect.
Rookie quarterback.
Are you kidding me? Their point total, Sean, is set to 399.5.
Yeah.
That means they're going to score 24 points a game. That's a lot of respect. No, thank you. Texans 20-1. They certainly could get there, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. But
are you betting them at 20-1?
No, because I'm still a little skeptical of the Stephon Diggs thing. And also, as much as I don't want to have like
what's the Stephon Diggs thing? Having another elite wide receiver one on the team.
Yeah, I'm skeptical that's going to work. This guy hasn't been good for team chemistry. I would say this
TMZ.
No, I mean, got on his 3rd contract for a reason. I mean, we've seen these receivers that have trouble fitting in. Eventually, you kind of hit the wall. I thought his production fell off in the second half of the season. Back-to-back seasons. I think Josh Allen, who's supposedly best friends for him, if he doesn't want him there, I think that's a telling sign. Now, I would just go big picture that it felt like kind of everything went right for this Texans offense last year. Now, granted, CJ Stroud did get banged up a little bit. I would say this though, kind of interesting. I mean, I would rather have this than CJ Stroud MVP, I think. But yeah, I totally see the case. I'm just not buying it at 20-1.
I mean, CJ Stroud, I think, has more paths to MVP than them having to have the most points.
Right,
strangely.
but the CJ Stroud's probably half the odds.
20-1. You know what? That's going to be worth a click over here. Let me look over here.
What's his MVP price right now? It's probably like 10-1.
850. That is stupid.
See? That's what I'm saying. I would rather have most points than MVP.
You're right. All right, next here. Packers, Bengals 15-1, Ravens 13-1.
See, this is where it's like interesting because obviously the Ravens, great regular season team, right up there, and we should have went through the top 5 teams last year in points. Dallas, I'm sure we didn't have them in our queue. San Francisco number 2 in points, Miami 3, Ravens number 4, Detroit 5, Buffalo 6, Philly 7, Green Bay 8. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to talk yourself. Packers, no. Again, it seems stuff went a little bit too right. Although their point total is way high compared to the other ones in this same market here.
You might be including playoffs in the Packers because I think they're a little lower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Packers were down in the 22.5 points per game.
Am I looking at oh yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's Cowboys, Dolphins, Niners, Ravens, Lions, Bills, Eagles, Rams, Saints. Saints were surprisingly in there. Those are the teams that scored 400 points last year. And Colts 398 with Gardner Minshew for most of the season, Sean. So love to see that. All right, so yeah, getting back to the list, and really the takeaway from last year is the spread at the top two is huge. There's not really like the Cowboys were scoring 30 points a game.
Yeah.
So
hilarious how they got destroyed.
To put that in perspective, the Eagles, who were what 7th on the list, scoring 25.5 points a game, and then you get down to the Colts in 11th, and they're at 23.5 points a game. So it was a pretty big spread at the top, and which is why what you were saying earlier about you can't really come out of nowhere and win this thing. But yeah, Bengals, Packers, Ravens. Ravens are 13-1. Other two are 15-1. I mean, are we at all interested in the Bengals breaking in a new offense?
Bengals are interesting. They just end up starting slow.
Packers. This feels. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills with the Packers. Like what? I went to sleep and now everyone's like, oh yeah, the Packers have this elite quarterback and they're going to be one of the best offenses in the league. I watched Tommy DeVito outduel this motherfucker. I can't unsee that, Sean.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm out on that one.
And I was looking at Texans were 377 last year. So even though they had a good win loss, it wasn't like just
oh yeah, they were middle of the road.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm going to pass on all these. There's a couple chalk things I like, but
this is not the chalk to eat.
No.
What in Ravens? No new offensive coordinator. Lamar still there. Derrick Henry.
They should be in the mix, but I don't know.
They scored 485. They scored 28.5 a game. They certainly are in the mix. That this price puts them much further outside than some of these other teams. Are you sure? I know you hate the Ravens.
Yeah, I hate the Ravens. Okay. So I got to stick with my Ravens hate, Ryan.
Rams 12-1, Chiefs 11-1, and then the Eagles, Dolphins, and Cowboys all 10-1. Why? The Dolphins defense got considerably worse. Why are they 10-1? To me, they're outside of the long shots that obviously stood out like the Titans, obvious bets. The Miami Dolphins they were right there on the doorstep. The Cowboys aren't. The Cowboys hit the ceiling on a lot of things last year.
Yes,
one of them will be points, and the Dolphins got worse on defense. They're gonna give up more points.
No,
they're going to be in track meets. Well, I don't know if Vic Fangio is good or bad at this point in his career, but the Dolphins to me is a no brainer. I don't really love any of the other teams on this list. Chiefs don't care about the points. I don't think the Eagles are going to be a shootout team.
I'm going to
bring in Saquon Barkley. I know you are, and I think the you could probably make arguments. I think people can probably make good arguments for the Rams, especially because their defense also could take a step back. You saw how many points they scored last year. They were right behind the Eagles, scoring about 20, but they were scoring only 23.5 points per game. So can we expect the Rams to score an additional 4 points a game, 5 points a game? That's probably required to get over 4 touchdowns. I don't know if I can, unless
the Eagles season, if you count up to that, they had those 6-game stretch where AJ Brown had 125 receiving yards. Like they even though their season completely unraveled, there was a portion there where they were playing at a very high level offense. And you go back to 2022 where they were second in points, them coming back and getting the number 1 points market at 10-1 is not crazy at all. So of course I'm going to be on the Eagles there. Rams, I do like the Rams, but 12-1.
The Rams and the Dolphins, I would not have a problem if I had to pick one of those, I definitely like the Dolphins over the Rams. But they have similar arguments, right? You have this loaded offense. You have a lot of questions on the defensive side of the ball,
and a quarterback. You have 2 really good receivers, high level receivers. You have an offensive minded head coach with a quarterback where you're worried, are they going to stay healthy?
Honestly, they both have 2 high level receivers. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like
and
they both,
high level running games.
Yeah, very similar. So I see the case for Dolphins.
Who do you like better, Rams or Dolphins?
You got, I would say Dolphins. Yeah.
I trust the Dolphins more. McVay talking about retirement, media jobs. We're going to have to do it this shit again.
And I don't know. Yeah, I would go Dolphins at 10-1 compared to Rams. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Last ones, Bills 9-1, Lions plus 550, Niners 5-1.
I hate all these.
The Lions make so much sense. I would never want to pay this price. There's many other ways you can play the Lions for better value. But the idea that their defense stinks and Jared Goff lights the world on fire this year. I mean, three guys are being drafted within the first couple rounds. 2 of them are going in the first round of fantasy.
And they signed that UFL kicker who can hit 60 yarders.
Oh man, poor UFL. They just keep all the good players,
all the big stars getting signed away.
It's horrible.
No, I totally understand why these teams are the favorites, but again, in these markets, I don't know. Like, there's just so much you have to get right to get these. You got to get paid out when you get them right. Is my mind. Like, I don't think chalk is very interesting in either of these markets.
And for what it's worth, Detroit has the highest point total, followed by the 49ers, followed by the Bills, followed by the Rams. Sean, a little bit of an outlier there, followed by the Eagles, and then the Dolphins, Cowboys.
All right, so officially I'm on Philly at 10-1, Indy 40-1, Tampa Bay 50-1, Chargers 80-1, and my Tennessee donation of 300.
You don't have to be on Philly.
Oh, I know, right?
Okay.
Kramer, what are you on?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? Give me the Rams too. So I have also 5.
Okay,
I'll split a unit there. Miami and Los Angeles. I like both those from the chalk perspective. From the you really shouldn't bet on teams that come out of nowhere. From the kind of coming out of nowhere tier, Arizona and Indy, and then I don't know why Sean has to qualify as Titans bet, but I got a hand pay in the NFL slot machine from the Titans multiple times this offseason, 300-1. That's the right price. All right.
Hey Ryan, before we talk lease points, let's talk Game Time. Head over to gametime.co, download the Game Time app, get you ready. Your go-to app for last minute tickets. I mean, we're taping this, Ryan, mere minutes before the Boston Celtics and the Mavericks square off. Hey, maybe you want to, maybe
Go to Game 6.
Maybe Game 6 happens, right? Maybe the
Celtics
lose. Knock on wood, you can get in. And they have a bunch of great deals. You get your zone deals, your flash deals. They got you covered, and it's not just sports. They get you concerts, theaters, performances, wherever you're getting tickets. Game Time has you covered. Your go-to app for last minute tickets. Use that promo code SGPN. Get $20 off your first purchase. Go to gametime.co or download the Game Time app. Promo code SGPN.
All right, lease points, and I got to be honest, Sean. I got some banger long shots.
Woo.
Banger long shots. And you're gonna be surprised here, but it's basically the opposite of what we just did. Niners, Lions, 300-1. Eagles, Cowboys, Bills, 250-1. I got to be honest. The Cowboys, this is an outlier price to me. They should not be 250-1. We're getting tremendous value here, Sean.
Well, let's. All right. Now
I got them priced at 150-1. So you want to talk about some CLV?
All right, so we're both getting down on Dallas at 250-1.
So.
I mean, they are one.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Why is producer Josh not riding with?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Put him in the box. Just we don't want to.
I mean, Ryan, who is currently backing up Dak Prescott?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Cooper Rush.
I was going to guess Cooper Rush.
Trey Lance still the number 3. So
shit.
What
we're going to see Trey Lance this year.
Eagles have a better backup quarterback. So I think like the bottoming out
Giants
scenario,
have a better backup quarterback.
No, I mean Cooper Rush is pretty bad when it comes to the backup quarterback market. I mean, you could name a bunch of backups I'd rather have.
Is he doing any pizza appearances? Gonna fucking
maybe Tommy DeVito ends up on the roster and we have to adjust this.
No.
But no. Yeah, give me the Cowboys 250-1. The rest of these, there's too much talent. I mean, even on the Bills, a Josh Allen injury. I guess.
If Josh Allen gets hurt, they're in trouble. Sean McDermott's the coach.
Yeah. I mean, they got Mitch Trubisky, which I know people will laugh at, but he will give you competent NFL play compared to Cooper Rush.
This is actually starting to sound like a pretty smart bet, and it's going to piss off Bills fans. Put me down for Bills fewest points.
Okay. Ryan already coming at the Bills Mafia. Right. I see Easy in the chat. Shout out to Easy, Lions fan, saying Sean, the O line doesn't worry you at all for scoring points.
Oh no.
I'm slightly concerned, but I think Cam Jurgens played at a high level. They have, they got Lane Johnson, all pro. Mailata is very good. Like their offensive line. I mean, really, honestly, I love their offensive line coach, Jeff Stoutland. He took a guy in Jordan Mailata, turned him into a franchise left tackle from a guy who had never played football before. Now, sure, he was playing rugby at a high level and was a nice size speed guy, but again, he had never played football, let alone left tackle. So I'm super, as long as they have Jeff Stoutland, I'll be optimistic on the offensive line. Losing Jason Kelce could hurt, but there were some issues with Kelce's game. I think losing him as a leader is almost bigger than his play on the field. But yeah, certainly a question mark at the center.
That's crazy take.
What?
I disagree that Kelce was not. Kelce was still a very critical piece of that offensive line. I mean, I'm going off of just listening to the words of Dexter Lawrence talk about Jason Kelce.
No, I think his calling
Dexter Lawrence is scared of no one in the league except for Jason Kelce.
Calling the offense, what he did from a play calling standpoint for the offensive line. I think that will be missed more than necessarily his physicality or some of the snapping issues he had.
Really? Throwing him under the bus.
No,
wow.
Jason Kelce's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I like Jason Kelce.
I don't think last year was his best year of play.
Woo.
That being said, he's still an all-time Eagle.
Sounds like he's pretty far down. We're gonna need a list of Sean's top 5 all-time Eagles. See if Kelce makes the cut.
He's right on the edge there.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a pretty impressive list. I mean, you have guys
Dawkins,
like Reggie White, and Chuck Bednarik.
That's fair. You're going back.
I mean, if you're saying all-time Eagles, it's a competitive list. I think Nick Foles has to be in there.
Over Kelce.
It's tough because
no, the next episode of Die Hard Eagle, I might have to tune in.
This
is excellent.
It's tough. I because of what he did when he did it, it's hard not to give the nod to Foles there. But yeah, I think I would probably find a way to get Kelce in there.
Kelce represents the dominance of this generation of the Eagles team.
Yeah,
in my mind.
That's fair, and that's probably why he probably would make a top 5.
And I think that the most noticeable element is going to be when Dexter Lawrence comes in and starts butt fucking whatever novice ass center they throw at him. It's going to be excellent. All right. 200-1, Sean. We got the Packers, Chiefs, Rams, and Dolphins. See, to me, the Dolphins and Rams will put up enough points not to have the least points no matter what. No matter the quarterback. Probably Andy Reid. I can say the same thing. Jeez. I don't know if I could say the same thing about the Packers. Why are we so sure this team is going to be lights out? I know we're talking about these long shots, but get a couple shekels. The Packers, really? I mean, forever.
Sean Clifford is the number 2.
That fucking guy sucks.
That's all I need to hear.
Put him on the list.
Green Bay at 200-1.
Sean, this is a circuit bet when we go out in July.
Your hate of the Packers is strong, Ryan.
Is it?
Is
it irrational?
No. I share your skepticism to some degree. I'm not as strong with the Packers hate. Maybe I'm factoring into how they destroyed the Cowboys.
I feel like I blacked out and I missed Jordan Love becoming an elite quarterback. I get it. He has a couple nice throws off his back foot.
I think what he did in the playoffs moved people up a lot. And if that doesn't factor into your handicap, if quarterback play in the playoffs doesn't matter more to you, then I could see that for sure.
Okay. I mean, that could also throw you off the scent. We have a lot of bigger sample size of that. 100-1 Ravens and Bengals. No, thank you. Right?
Yeah.
I don't really yet. Maybe the Bengals could be a dumpster fire, but feels pretty far away. Texans 90-1.
Nope. Nah, I don't see it. Even with some injuries, D'Amico Ryans, they got enough talent on that team to hang around.
They are pretty close to being a bad team, but who's the backup there? Davis Mills still there?
Davis Mills? No, I don't think he's in the league anymore.
Really?
Could be wrong.
Remember that neck?
Yeah.
Remember that ridiculous neck?
No, you're right. Davis Mills is. I thought they got rid of him. Case Keenum's the third. But Davis Mills
this
is
team
number
is
two.
dangerous. Then if
Look out,
CJ Stroud goes out, how's Case Keenum not a coach yet? All right, moving along. Big drop here. Now we're down to 65-1. Seahawks, Jets, and Bears.
I mean, I'll be honest. Jets at 65-1 is like lock city.
What were they last year?
How
many
many
points did they have last year? That would be I would need to look at that. Let me see.
They had 268 points in 2023. So they were, the Panthers and the Patriots tied for the fewest at 236. But Jets were what, third fewest there? They just beat out the Giants by 2 points.
Wasn't that the nut? Like, didn't the Jets? I mean, in fairness, the Jets and the Giants, didn't they have like the absolute nightmare scenario? Like, how could it possibly go worse?
But it could also go the same. So to me,
okay.
But
they still were off the pace by 30 points. Like, someone's gonna crater. I mean, it could be the Patriots again. Could be the Panthers again.
I like the Jets a lot at 65-1. I see your case of like, hey, they lost their starting quarterback and they still didn't have the fewest points, but it is the Jets. One, two. The Aaron Rodgers stuff is already getting weird.
Do you remember Hard Knocks when they were just showing clips of Aaron Rodgers?
See this guy? He's on our team now.
Look at this fucking guy.
We don't have to play against him. He's on our team.
We got the Super Bowl locked up. Come on, guys.
I mean, just
all right. I see your point. I'm not in.
They're the Jets.
Yeah, they jetted as hard as they could jet last year, and they didn't make it. Any interest? See, to me, the Seahawks are interesting, much more interesting than the Jets, because I feel like the Seahawks could be in the mix here without any sort of catastrophic injury. Why are we so sure this offense is going to be good?
I'm also skeptical on Seattle, so I'll sprinkle on Seattle.
So many good bets on the least points.
What are you doing, Ryan? Are you adding Seattle?
Yeah. What about this team are we excited about? I mean, we thought they were crazy mispriced on the other side on the most points. I don't think they're going to sniff most points. I certainly think they could sniff least points.
Yeah. Tough division.
They were middle of the road last year. They were scoring 21.5 points. And now they have a guy who wants to be more run the ball, defensive minded potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Let's look at some of these bottom teams.
Defense is going to be better.
The fewest points last year: Patriots, Panthers, Giants, Jets, Steelers. What do they all have in common? Very bad quarterback play. Is Geno Smith capable of very bad quarterback play? Is he backed up by Sam Howell?
Yes.
A guy who wasn't too far off on this list. Yes, and yes.
A little too volatile, probably. I'll take Seattle.
Yeah.
Bears, I'll leave alone.
Bears, 65-1. No thanks.
They have a lot of talent on offense. Jags, Falcons, Cardinals, all 50-1. I can't take the Falcons here because they do have a great backup quarterback.
Michael Penix. Yeah, they also have so much talent. It's hard. I mean, I'm skeptical of them, but least points is it's a really low floor.
Not super interested in this one.
Yeah, even the Jags, no thanks.
I wish I could hate the Jags here, but 40-1 Colts and Bucks. We kind of
interesting. Colts have the same price for most and least.
Yeah. Which do you like better?
I mean, I like most.
They had their quarterback go out. They had all sorts of problems last year, and they still score 11th most points.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew helped them almost crack the top 10 in points.
Bucks, what's their plan if Baker gets hurt?
Bucks, it's certainly thin, but I don't know their roster.
It does seem like they'll get points, right? Kyle Trask or Wolf of Wofford Street.
They could be in trouble if Baker gets hurt, but at 40-1,
yeah, the Todd Bowles.
I mean, they have really good receivers. You have, Rashad. I think solid. Their defense, I think, is going to be competitive enough to not let them completely bottom out.
Just they're two in the middle to be interested here. The odds aren't juicy enough. And part of the reason we like some of those long shots is those odds are so juicy. 30-1 Vikings.
So Vikings were middle of the pack. You have either Sam Darnold or a rookie quarterback at the helm. You have Aaron Jones
there's so much talent on this offense, and there's going to be so much aggression on defense. I don't see how they.
Yeah, and they did a decent job of cobbling together with Justin Jefferson being out. Even Hawkinson was injured when they brought him over, or after they brought him over. So I thought they did a good job of figuring stuff out.
20 points per game last year with all of the horrible shit that happened.
Yeah,
so.
I think you got to stay away from that.
All right, next up we got the Commanders and Saints at 25-1.
Saints are always interesting, but again,
10th most points last year.
Yeah, they're deceptively. You play in a dome. Derek Carr is not good, but he's not like worst quarterback in the league.
Commanders, Kingsbury. They're gonna do enough.
Yeah, I think they'll get there in garbage time. Even if they could be a bad team, and I still think wouldn't be a great bet for least points. I mean, certainly the case is like, hey, Jaden Daniels, we have a Bryce Young moment where all of a sudden we're like, holy shit, this guy is too tiny to play in the NFL.
If he gets hurt,
it's a complete disaster.
The backup is Marcus Mariota, Jeff Driscoll, or Sam Hartman. That's actually pretty heavy crater potential in my opinion.
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota is pretty bad.
I guess
Jeff Driscoll,
but also that is kind of priced into this.
Yeah, I don't like the short price here.
Yeah, it's right on the edge.
But I do think that they have a very, very low floor. Chargers 22-1.
No, that Harbaugh's a Prad coach. I don't think he's going to let him go out like that.
What if they're not there yet?
No, that's possible, but you still have Justin Herbert.
You're like just a fanboy. Chargers fanboy.
No, I'm not. I think they're weirdly priced in the market.
Cleveland 16-1.
So you're not taking them?
No.
Okay. Cleveland 16-1. No, because look at they don't need a quarterback. We just saw that last year. They literally got Joe Flacco off his couch, put him in the offense, and they went on a heater. Now some of that's Joe Flacco, but I think some of that just shows you Kevin Stefanski. He's won without any real quarterback in his time in Cleveland. Yeah. I mean, like, what was his best quarterback year? It was like that year Baker where they won the wild card game.
Plus, I don't want to bet against Jameis.
Yeah, you have Jameis Winston in there.
Giants 10-1.
I mean, this is very generous by the odds.
They didn't win this last year, and they had the worst possible scenario happen.
Oh, I think the worst possible scenario is coming up this season. Well, how could it?
Let's explain. Explain to me how it's going to get worse.
How it's going to get worse?
Is
you're not going to be playing Tommy DeVito?
The entire offensive line going to get hurt? Tommy DeVito's a year older. He's going to be better. That's the problem. If they get to Tommy DeVito, he's more prepared.
Maybe then DeVito will. They've added some wins.
They've added talent to the roster.
Yes, every team adds talent to the roster, right?
No, I'm saying they were injured at a level that would be hard to replicate.
I guess I don't think Daniel Jones is a very good quarterback. I don't think their offensive line is going to be very good. I think they lack elite skill players. They lost Saquon Barkley. I mean, your best offensive player is
Malik Neighbors,
a rookie receiver.
Yeah, who's going to have a very good season. You obviously aren't watching the tape.
I mean,
good luck.
Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers had the #1 pick overall. That did not help them in the scoring points.
Yeah, the Giants had the worst possible scenario happen last year, and they didn't sniff the lowest points.
Oh, they sniff it. What do you mean they didn't sniff
2 points per game off the pace? Not even close.
They were second place. Is a different way to frame it.
Are they? Well, yeah, that is a different way to frame it. That's why I didn't.
They had the second fewest. Yes.
No, third.
Okay. All right.
I like to be accurate with my data.
Okay. Well, then who was second?
It was Panthers and Patriots beneath them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
they were tied for first, and then the Giants were second.
Okay.
Well, who was second then?
What do you mean?
Who had the second fewest points in the NFL?
It was the Patriots and then the Panthers.
But they tied.
And so they both had people.
They both had the first.
So then there's
fewest.
A third place because there's
no
people.
second place. Okay.
That's how ties work.
All right.
Because you would be third in line if two people were tied ahead of you.
Okay.
So good luck with that one. It seems like that's a negative EV spot, but very predictably you're on it. Titans 850. What are they doing here?
No, I don't like. I mean, this is stupid.
Do we bet a little insurance on our 300-1 lock, just in case? Steelers 8-1, Panthers 8-1. To me, and I'll rattle off the rest. Raiders 7-1, Broncos 4-1, Patriots plus 330. First of all, why? Like, I understand you can make fun of Arthur Smith.
Yeah,
they're not going to be they're going to run the ball a lot. They're not going to be the lowest scoring offense in the league. Like, to me, I think you got to separate these things. They have competent quarterbacks. It will be a competent offense, even if the media will make fun of them. To me, disrespectful to have the Steelers in the same class.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just ran it back by saying, Steelers had the 5th fewest number of points, so they just automatically gave them
donkey move,
low odds here. But
It's Dominic the donkey.
but to your logic, like, Tomlin they're a well coached team. Like, they're not going to bottom out so hard. They're not going to be an elite offense, but they're not going to bottom out. They're not going to be the worst offense. And you have Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. One of them is going to be okay enough to not be the worst team in the league.
Well, if you believe they're going
to
be over 500, they're not going to have the fewest amount of points.
It would be impossible to be 9-8, and I mean, he probably got as close as you can get last year.
All right, so the other options are let's discard the Raiders too at 7-1. Why we just talked about Gardner Minshew scored what did I say, 10th most points in the NFL last year?
Yeah, I mean,
he's not a bad quarterback.
You got Devontae Adams there,
Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Zamir White,
and
run the damn ball.
Aiden O'Connell has decent game experience. Again, I'm not trying to make a case for the Raiders, but you have to identify the bottoming out point for this team. And does that make sense with the odds? And Raiders, no, definitely not. And a lot of these chalk, I would say, no.
Broncos last year
4-1. Are you kidding me?
Broncos had a pretty bad scenario last year. Unless Bo Nix is just a bridge quarterback to some other quarterback. This one doesn't make sense either, because they did fine in a scenario where he was trying to have Russ fail. Peyton was actively trying to have.
He wanted
Russ
to get
fail.
rid of Russell Wilson,
and they scored.
They literally asked their quarterback, like, "Hey, can we just bench you? Would you like to take less money?" Oh no, you don't want to do that. Shit, I guess we have to still play you.
And they scored 21 points per game.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Patriots, I understand why they're the favorites. It's going to be Jacoby Brissett or Drake May, rookie, but at plus 330, no way.
So the Panthers only scored 23 touchdowns last year. That's only more than the Jets. Somehow the Jets only had 22 touchdowns last year.
I mean, the Panthers are certainly interesting because I think they're going to have to play Bryce Young the entire season. And if we realize Bryce Young is just not an NFL quarterback, maybe at 8-1, but they got a new offensive coordinator, Deontay Johnson. It feels like,
why do we think they're? But we watched Bryce Young. Why do we think he's going to be any better?
Yeah, no, I mean, Panthers at 8-1 would be probably the chalk that's most interesting.
Are you going to take any chalk?
Oh, I think the Giants to me that's my chalk play.
Oh wow. Yeah, give me the Panthers.
Okay. I mean, why
are the Panthers and Patriots so different?
Yeah, you know what? I'll toss in the Panthers.
That's what I don't get. Like, what are we excited about? People generally thought the coach was a weirdo. They have acquired pieces that people didn't want, and they got rid of the good pieces that people did want. It just doesn't seem. And the owner's a wacko. The culture in the building can't be.
To your point, Panthers and Patriots both scored the same amount of points the last year, which was comically low. I think this, should the Panthers have double the odds for fewest points compared to the Patriots? No.
And I strangely trust the Patriots to roll out a decent defense and an offense that will score some. Like, if you to me, the Panthers have a much lower floor. We also have a first time head coach. I know they both have first time head coaches.
Yeah.
But one is in a building with probably not the best support from ownership, probably not the best structure from previous regimes winning. I mean, they're only so many years removed from Gettleman. Let's not forget. So yeah, Panthers at 8-1 feels like a lock. Play the dolphin sound effect.
The dolphin?
Yeah, for the beluga.
Oh, okay. for the mini baby whale. So I like Carolina 8-1, Giants 10-1. Jets in Seattle 65-1, Packers 200-1, Dallas 250-1. Kramer, what do you got?
You know what? Add the Jets for me because it really does stand out that the Jets, if you get rid of their return touchdowns, they scored 18 touchdowns only last year.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I forgot about all their defensive touchdowns.
They had 4 return touchdowns and they only scored 22 on the year. So Carolina 8-1, Jets in Seattle at 65-1. Packers at 200-1. Sean, this is a paper ticket loading right there. Bills and Cowboys 250-1.
Yeah, I mean,
what happened?
What's up?
Oh, I saw Josh's Cowboys. No,
I was trying to adjust the. There was a copy and paste issue, Ryan, where the line went away. So I was trying to fix that.
Got it.
But yeah, Dallas at 250-1. Of course, we're gonna auto fade the Cowboys. Packers at 200-1. Yeah, you could see how this could.
All right, Sean. Here's the thing: we're gonna get a paper ticket to the Cowboys one, and we're gonna post it on social media. Cowboys fans will get very upset. So
we would need. What would we need?
What?
I'm just thinking to get to $1
million payout.
Yeah. What would $1 million pay us?
If we put $4,000, it'd pay us $1 million. Right?
Okay, that would be a pretty fun.
Oh my god!
Pretty fun lock. We got to see what the Circa does. The Circa, are they already hanging this market?
I don't know. I feel like the week before we go, I'll just hit up Jeff Benson with a bunch of requests.
Yeah. Can you honor your competitor's price on this market? We'll see. Looking forward to the Circa.
I'd like to bet enough to win $1 million, please, sir.
Oh, maybe we just do 400. Get it up to 100K. That would be a pretty sweet.
6 figures enough.
Yeah. All right. So that's
one
on the
better
list.
Wrist.
Yeah, we just got to go viral on
one better could win $100,000,
and then they'll share the screenshot of our slip with like a sad Dak face.
What if
it'll be worth the $400?
Maybe can we parlay it with Cowboys to have the worst record?
Well, we gotta see if they let us parlay most points with least points. Oh man, imagine a Titans Cowboys parlay.
I mean that would.
Oh my god!
The limit on that would be like 10 cents.
All right, already looking forward to football. Make sure you toss us a nice rating review if you're listening on Spotify. Got through the whole episode, you enjoyed it. Toss us 5 stars. Over on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. Leave a little review. Might give yourself a chance to win a gift card. Check out the Patreon. We got all our picks sheets, the bonus SGP stories episodes, the weekly pick'em. Very fun. Make sure you get in on all that sweet stuff. And Ryan, what do we got coming up show wise?
Show wise, we got, of course, the PLL is taking a break. We will not be.
We decided we are going to do a PLL.
We're going to do a PLL episode. We'll do some power rankings, maybe some talk some NFL players playing lacrosse. If we have NBA Game 6, we'll be talking that later in the week. We'll be starting our fantasy previews, doing the top 10 series. Sean insists we start with quarterbacks, so I think Wednesday we'll tight ends. It will be It will be unofficially our 2000th episode, so I feel like maybe we should do tight ends.
Yeah,
it's more fitting.
That's on brand.
It's more fitting. And then like you mentioned, fantasy previews, college football previews, right into
NFL.
Let's go.
The National Football League.
And real last thing, send in if you are part of the Patreon. If you're not, you might want to get signed up because we're doing a Patty C origin story.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions about Patty C, any questions,
I have a lot of questions.
We already have a lot, but if you have any other questions about Patty C, send them in. We'll get them answered for you. I feel like we're gonna need a part. Like this is gonna be like one of those 10-part miniseries.
It's an odyssey.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
81 days, Sean. 81 days.
Kramer, let it ride.